Twins of Reddit, what is your most awkward awesome wrong twin story? So, this happened to me about a year ago. I currently live in Singapore and was out for dinner with my girlfriend at the time. My girlfriend bends over and quietly tells me there is this woman walking around taking pictures of me. So I look over and she is trying to be very discreet about it. She sees me notice her and comes over looking very angry and angrily asks me what the heck I'm doing and how I could cheat on my wife. And I'm completely dumbfounded. I have no idea who this woman is or who she is talking about, so I just tell her that I've never been married. She proceeds to just stare at me and then asks me, wait, are you? Name of my twin brother. Me. No, that's my brother. At which point she proceeds to turn red and start apologizing profusely. Turns out this woman was on holiday and works with my sister-in-law. My brother was also on travel for work in China, not Singapore, and she assumed that he was lying to meet up with my girlfriend and cheat on my sister-in-law. It was an awkward as heck experience but made for a good laugh at least. My grandparents were getting us ready for kindergarten. They put the wrong name tags on us but we did not notice. I was just sitting in class and all of a sudden the teacher goes, "My brother's name. You're in the wrong class." We had different teachers. She brings me to my brother's classroom and takes him to hers. I was so scared I didn't say anything and I felt like I did something wrong. After a few minutes I was so freaked out about being in an unfamiliar place and seeing all the strange faces I started crying. My brother's kindergarten teacher figured out what was wrong and sent us back to our real classrooms. Me and my twin are fraternal and look nothing alike. This was like the third week of class. Teacher, these dang kids again, always effing around even as babies. We were in middle school, was on the school bus and heard someone call my twin brother's name Jay. I turn and see his girlfriend extremely upset, and she slaps me right across the face. I was just dumbfounded and didn't say a word as she walked away. I passed the message along to him later with a much harder slap. Good times. My brother and I used to play that game. It ended when he had to pass on a slug to the arm and he just left a bruise on my arm. Identical twin here attending the same college as my twin brother. I was walking with my girlfriend at the time during my freshman year, and another girl approached me and said, "Oh, so this is why you didn't want to call me back." I didn't know this girl, but it also didn't register at the time that she was referring to my twin, who I assume ghosted her. I told this girl she must be mistaken, and she says, "No, I know it's you. We met in the dorms." And then it clicked for me. So I explained that she was confusing me for my twin brother, but the most awkward part is that she didn't believe a word I was saying and thought I was just using the twin story to try to get rid of her. I had her call me at the time and show her that my phone wasn't ringing and that she was calling my twin. My girlfriend was upset at first, but then basically realized the humor in the situation as it was unfolding. The whole "I have a twin, call his phone" sneaky. Me and my twin are both in the same major at the same school. I'm told we stand out a bit and are quite recognizable cause people see us all over and never realize we're twins. Anyways, on one of my trips to college a couple months back I had a guy come up to me and confess how much he looked up to me about how I always sit in the front, show up every day and seem smart and always do well. He was talking about my brother cause I didn't show up to class too often. I got that once. A woman told my mom how great I was at watching kids in the church nursery and had some really specific examples of what a great job I was doing. I enjoyed the compliment, but there were specific examples of what a great job my twin sister was doing. I dated a girl whose twin was a life drawing model on campus. Guys were always approaching her when they mistook her and assumed that since they had seen her nude, she was easy. That's awkward. This was my dad's story. Billy and my uncle look exactly alike, to the point where their wives of 2+ decades have confused them. When they were in college my dad was the lead in a show and my uncle came to see it opening night. My uncle saw his chance and, while my dad was in the bathroom, burst through the curtains and said, "That's it. I've had it. I can't work with these people anymore," and stormed off. The director was basically shitting himself. Nobody knew that my dad had a twin until my dad came back and, once he saw everyone's faces, basically said, "Yeah, my twin is coming tonight. He messed with y'all, right?" My twin had recently joined the Navy and was at boot camp. I, on the other hand, was walking around the grocery store when a man came running up to me in a panic. He began to shout, "What in the heck are you doing here? You're going to go to federal prison." A bit shocked, I assumed it was just some crazy person and started to back away, but he followed. So, I said, "Sir, I don't know what you're talking about." He then proceeded to say my twin's name and then I started laughing. He, still very panicked and now angry, asked why I thought this was funny. I explained I am such and such's twin. He didn't believe me until I finally pulled my ID out to prove I was who I said I was. He then apologized and explained he was her enlisting officer and was very concerned when he saw me. I've got a twin who works at Starbucks. I always get an employee discount. You should check out the documentary 3 Identical Strangers. The first 20 minutes or so are one of the craziest versions of this kind of thing ever. Just watched this yesterday. Pretty interesting. My twin brother and I were counselors at a summer camp. We were in different huts, so we led different age kids for a week. Whenever I would pass the kids he was counseling or vice versa, they would scream confused and ask many questions. It became a daily debacle. Once you're an adult, you will all start to look the same. Had a co-worker who had kids 5 years before his twin. He started looking so much older, people just assumed he was an older brother. Guys at the gym would come up to him thinking he was the other brother and tell Hook he looked like crap. Other way around, too. Guys would come up to his brother and tell him he looked great thinking it was my friend. The difference was crazy. I'm not a twin, but I'm dating one. I came up behind my girlfriend's sister and smacked her ass. They share clothes sometimes and look exactly alike, especially from behind. It was so awkward that I have to say my girlfriend's name to confirm it's really her. They share clothes. That's just unfair. I'm a teacher, and when I was student teaching there were twin girls. They were super cute and very hard to tell apart. I finally got to the point where I could tell which was which. One morning I confidently called them by their names, but they corrected me. I made note of what they were wearing and kept them straight the rest of the morning. While we were going over our lessons and I call on twin A, she began to cry and said, "I'm not twin A, I'm twin B." They decided that they were going to switch on us that morning, but then got upset when we called them the wrong name. We laughed so hard about it after the fact, and their mom was appalled that they were already switching places in kindergarten. When I was teaching, we had a pair of twins who were the most identical I'd ever seen. One had a tiny freckle under her eye and the other didn't, and that was the only way anyone could tell them apart. So their mom got them hair bows with their names monogrammed on, and then frequently put the wrong bow on the girls' heads. Had a buddy from the scatter park who had a twin. This guy and I would always crap talk each other. One day I see him and walk up to him. "What's up, dipshit? The frick you dressed like that for? It's not gonna make your busted ass skate any better." "Excuse me, you go deaf too, dumbass." He gets in my face and starts asking what my problem is. I'm laughing the entire time thinking we're playing a game, until he shoves me hard. I fall backwards and look at him and yell, "Sean, the frick, man." His face completely changed. "I'm Shane, dude. Sean's twin. I didn't know he had a twin." Next time I see Sean he cracks up. "Heard my brother almost beat your ass." I have some triplet friends who all still live in the same town. The funniest story they had was that apparently all 3 of them impregnated their respective wives within a 2-year span, and all 3 wives chose the same origin. The OB didn't know the names of their husbands, only saw the last name, baby, and the woman's name. All 3 said the OB was super rude and mean to them until finally triplet 1 and triplet 2 had appointments back to back. The OB came in and saw both of them, did a double take, and asked, "There's more than one of you?" They of course replied, "Yeah, there's 3. We're triplets." I guess this OB thought one guy had impregnated 3 different women and was just rolling with his adultery. I'm a nanny. Took care of 7-year-old identical twin boys. Names started with D and B. After school, one day they decided to wear the same clothes to see who they could trick. When they got off the bus they tried to get me to tell them apart. I stalled by having them stand side by side so I could really look at their faces. After less than a minute they started elbowing each other. Then one said, "B, stop," and they both knew the gig was up. When you said their names started with D and B I just automatically called them Bob and Dob in my head. Not about me but about my father who has an identical twin. I wasn't told the specifics of this story but basically my uncle had quite a bad gambling problem which led to him borrowing money off some dodgy people. And surprisingly my uncle lost all the money gambling and so was unable to pay back the people he had borrowed it from. IDK who these people were but I'm guessing that they are some sort of gang or some crap because they then started searching for my uncle to basically beat the crap out of him for not paying them back but instead found my dad. Apparently my dad was only moments away from having his knees busted before he convinced them he wasn't my uncle by showing them some pictures of them together. Luckily my dad wasn't harmed and the whole experience caused my uncle to get help for his addiction. Frick, if I were a mob enforcer, I would totally call bulls. IT wasn't me. IT was my identical twin brother. That's some rolling a natural 20 sort of charisma to convince them. My favorite story was I got a job at a grocery store near home. The main entrance and side entrance were relatively close to each other and I took groceries out with a customer and disappeared behind a wall that leads to the side door and only that side door. Within seconds of me being out of view my stepdad and twin walk in the main entrance door. I drop off the customer's groceries at their car, say goodbye and come in the main entrance door, and one of the cashiers is looking at me like he's seen a ghost. I have no idea why, so I ignore and go back to work. 15-20 minutes later my dad and brother show up at the register, and I say hey we bulls for a minute or two and I take the chance to help them to their car because they won't say no and I can get away for a few minutes. When I come back in that cashier, Taylor, pulls me aside and goes you're a twin and proceeds to tell me what just happened and how confused he was. 6 months later my twin gets a job at the store. We have people start conversations with one of us and try to finish with the other. Sometimes due to workflow we'll both bag for the same person but not at the same time. They don't notice a difference. Eventually people start to figure it out but some laughs were had. This isn't the wrong twin story you probably meant but it's mine lol. So my twin and I are fraternal. We don't look alike at all. He's a guy. I'm a girl so there is that too. So we are at an arcade place. They have laser tag. My brothers and I are waiting on a bench for our turn when a couple comes walking by, stops and asks are you guys twins? I jump up excited saying yes, finally someone realizes we are twins, how awesome. Their faces are completely blank. My twin goes no I think they meant me and younger brother. So like I said we don't look anything alike, also I'm 5'5" and my twin is 6'1". Lots of times people ask are you all actually related? So that's my wrong twin story lol. My twin and I went to the same uni but different campuses. One day she was at my campus for a lecture and one of my teachers spotted her. He went up to her and tried to convince her to go to his office to discuss one of the projects I was working on. She obviously freaked out and said she wasn't me. I ended up receiving an email from him saying he met my sister and accidentally scared her. We also used to work for the same company but different floors and departments. So many random people would say hello to me. I have major resting B face so they would always say that my sister was in a foul mood. Took them a while to realize there was two of us. I am an identical twin and my brother and I were at homecoming, both wearing basically the same outfit because there is really only one kind of blazer and white button down. It was dark at the after party. His date thought I was my brother and tried to start dancing with me. Had to awkwardly say wrong person. My mom is an identical twin and when my aunt would come to visit they would wear the same clothes and pick me up from daycare. Multiple times I cried because I could never figure out which one was really my mom. Very traumatizing. Not me, but I'm best friends with identical twins and we hang out a lot. Well, we made plans one time to go see a movie, but when I got there, one of them wasn't there. I thought the one that was there was the one who stayed home the entire time we were together. When we were saying bye I addressed her as the other one and she was like bro WTF. I'm Emily. I don't think she has ever forgiven me for that. In my school, we do punches aka little hole punches in a card and if you get 10 punches, you get a reward. So my math teacher gives me a punch if she calls me by my twin's name. So she called me by my twin's name. Then she is like oh, gotta give you a punch, then said is this your desk? Twin's name. I corrected her again and ended up getting a lunch party. She didn't even have my twin. It has happened at least 6 times this year. You have been visited by the hot dog wizard. He'll use his sausage magic for the price of one subscription. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.